Good morning, KUAM TV. Good morning, Guam. Good morning, Breeze. My name's Chris, Jason, Sabrina, Link Fam. Let's head into the Zoom room where we have the Chief of the Guam Police Department, Chief Stephen Ignacio. Good morning, Chief.
Have a day, Chris. Bree, Jason, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Eva Friday.
There you go. Chief, we'll just get right into it, right? So we're the fourth week of the surge as the cases have continued to climb over the last 4 weeks. How's that affected ops over at the Guam Police Department? How's it changed kind of your pivot in responding to crimes and just, assisting the community and all that?
Yeah, so, I was listening to your interview earlier with Mr. Fernandez from DOA, and, he's talking about, the impact of COVID and their organization. And, we're not immune to it as well. Just this past couple weeks, we've had 4 additional positive cases within our organization, the Guam Police Department. Just yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, I was notified that one of the positives came from a shift in the patrol operations. And so, of course, taking the measures that we need to, we had to secure a whole platoon or a whole shift of police officers. And we're shifting resources around to augment that shortage. I've even offered, if needed, we can bring some personnel out from some of our units up here at Tizen to help with patrol if needed. But, I work with Major Manny, the police commander, and the Operations Bureau Chief, to make sure that we staff patrol levels to where they need to be, despite, the positive COVID. We had exposure, close contact within our investigations bureau while we were out doing the search for the 2 wanted individuals for the shooting. So that kind of affected ops a little bit over there. So I believe just earlier this week we were able to get them back into the swing of things. So a lot going on, and as expected, of course, with the surge, the Guam Police by all means is not immune to it, and we're gonna, at some point find out that we're gonna have COVID positives, and we just shift our resources where we need to make sure that we continue to provide the service to the community.
Chief, there was that mandates, executive orders that came down, relative to masking and all the other things that are kind of going to be falling on public health and then I believe GPD to enforce, right? So is there any training or anything that you guys are doing to kind of ramp up enforcement?
No, so what it is that public health has already been provided the training by the judiciary, the traffic court, traffic violations bureau, on how to issue a citation and how to properly enter information. We provided some training on de-escalation techniques, so that if they encounter a very irate person, how to deal with that, and maybe just even, of course, taking that necessary step to maybe just move away, a step away from a very bad situation, so that nobody gets hurt, especially the employees of public health. And so, in anticipation of the new executive order in place, which limits access to certain people, especially the unvaccinated. We were working with public health, and we've had conversations. Should they need us, we have a dedicated team to work alongside their teams, so that we can go out and do enforcement. To date, I'm not aware of any citations that we issued or that they issued, but we do have support to that mission as well if needed.
What about the new executive order that's coming out today? How is GPD preparing to enforce it?
I'm sorry, Bria, I'm not sure what the new executive order is going to hold. Yeah, I haven't heard about it.
Just checking.
I don't know what
she was just trying to trick you into telling us. You gotta watch this girl over here.
Yeah, she might know before me because I'm not tracking anything. I'm actually I'm excited. Today's a good day for the Guam Police Department. Despite all the COVID positives, very good day today. We have a graduation tonight. So yeah.
How many are graduating? These new
We're
police
graduating
officers?
we're graduating 21 new recruits. Put them out in the street starting Sunday.
Awesome, awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Should we
Yes,
check you
good-
next
good
week
for
to
Guam.
see how many will be resigning and going to work for the military?
Oh, Bree,
Come on, Bree. Don't
you
jinx
just had
it.
to bring that up because
So
I
how
just got
many?
notified.
How many?
I just lost. I just was notified last week that I lost 4 to the Guam Airport Police. So yeah, it's tough all the way around, And some of the officers we were actually losing our seasoned officers. They bring a lot of good experience and background. But it's going to another local law enforcement agency. So they bring that experience with them. They bring that training, and and they're ready to hit the ground running. And it's with the airport police, so we work closely with them, just like with all our other law enforcement counterparts. So something that I've been working on. I've had that conversation already with Mr. Ed Byrne and his staff at the Human Resources Division at DOA, and I'm still waiting on their feedback as to what we can do to raise the salaries. Really, is what we need to do to be more attractive. I had the opportunity to go meet with and sit down with Colonel Bob over at Marine Corps Base, Camp Blas. And that was my first time that I ever sat down with the Marine Corps command staff, his chief of staff, the colonel, his lieutenant colonel, and his staff judge advocate, their emergency manager, and I believe he's the provost marshal for the Camp Blas. And it was a real eye-opener as to how big Camp Blas is going to be, but not only in the sense of how big it's going to be, but also in the sense of how much human resources they're going to need. And they're building a brand new police station up there. They're building a brand new fire station up there, to serve that particular camp and that particular community. And so I asked, point blank, well, how many civilian or Department of Defense, DOD police officers are you going to need? And he said 33 by the time we're done. So I get nervous, and something that I need to brace myself for, because I'm sure that they're going to be applicants from my agency and probably even the other law enforcement agencies. But that's just the law enforcement side. There's the fire side, and then there's the other side. The civilian support staff, almost like the public works division, if you will, for Camp Blas.
Yeah.
So they're going to be and I read some of the articles by in the news recently about the teacher shortage, and how some of them have shifted over to Dodea, and so we're probably going to experience the same thing that the teachers in our local school system are going to be feeling, that shortage, because we have a Marine Corps base, the federal government that we're competing with. And as we all know, their pockets are deeper, and where ours are not.
Yeah, maybe those 4 officers you just lost to airport police, maybe airport police will lose them to Camp Blas. Payback.
Well, funny you mentioned that, because Chief JQ, the executive manager, he's had to recruit because he lost, I think he said 10 or 12 to Navy police earlier this year or late last year. So it's just a vicious cycle. You recruit, you train, you lose, and then you just go out and recruit and train some more.
Well,
so in line with that, we already have the 6 new police recruits for our combined law enforcement cycle, which is I believe slated to start sometime in September. So we just don't give up. You just keep going and keep recruiting and getting more police officers out on the road, because that's what we need in our community.
Chief, you talked about de-escalation tactics, right? And so we had this guy on yesterday. He's manages a bunch of restaurants, but he was talking about how the hosts and the hostesses in these restaurants, a lot of times it's like an entry-level job, and so now because of these executive orders, they're having to check people's proof of vaccination. And he was saying that, and we've heard from just a bunch of different restaurants that customers are getting upset. So just if you could, for our audience, maybe could you give out some pointers, some de-escalation pointers for just people out there? Obviously, it's a very stressful time. Maybe, I mean, not just these hostesses, but even regular people could probably use some of these pointers.
Yes, Chris. So the most important thing, of course, in a confrontation is your personal safety, and even for police officers, that's why we have at our disposal different types of tools in case we need to escalate. But always the objective, even in police work, is de-escalation, and that's just either the verbal communication with the irate individual. And it's just continuing to engage that person to a point where if you're uncomfortable and you believe that this continued communication and engagement is just going to further escalate, Chris, we're here. The Guam Police Department is here. Please give 911 a call, and we'll send an officer, because the last thing we need to do is for somebody to get upset or somebody to get hurt because of employees, in these restaurants doing what they're being asked of through the executive order. And I've been out recently with the new executive order in place, and I've seen it. I was at lunch the other day with my wife, and I watched people come in to the restaurant that I was eating at, and it was very unfortunate because the person was turned away because they couldn't provide a proof of vaccine. I walked in, and a place I visit regularly, and I was asked to provide a proof of vaccine, and I was pulling out my smartphone, and I'm like, where you at? Where you at? I know I have you on my phone, because I probably took a picture of it like I think a week ago. And I said, I need to save this on my phone because I don't want to carry my card around. I don't want to lose it. Yeah. So I carried it on my phone, and of course it got lost in between all the other pictures I took. And so I was searching for it, but it's something that we have to get used to, because it's meant to protect our community. And as we've seen, with triple-digit positive cases daily, I think for the past 3 days, we need to do something. And anything that we do to try and protect the community is important, because it's not going to go anytime soon unless we come together as a community to combat the virus. And I understand that there are people that they're still hesitant to take the vaccine, and I respect that. Even within my organization, I'm still tracking I believe at 67% total. So I've still got 33% of my people that don't want to take the vaccine. Wow. And so, we implement those measures that are allowable. Either, we'll get the vaccine, and if you don't, then, we're going to be subjected to testing. Or, in certain instances, I've actually had employees notify me that they do have, they would like to take advantage of the exemptions, whether it be medical or religious.
33%, what's the numbers for that? What does that equate to?
Oh man, I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know it's about 100 some officers and about maybe 30 or 40 civilians that are vaccinated. So that leaves out the rest. So we have about 292 uniform officers and about 67 civilians, I believe. Yeah.
But GPD, they have the ability, right, to do their own testing. So you're
yes, absolutely. And so I think that's the plus for the Guam Police Department is that as we implemented this new order for testing for those that don't want to get vaccinated, it's not a burden for our employees, because we have that ability to test our employees, and it's actually worked because all of these officers that were exposed to COVID positives, the ones on the shift, the ones that were exposed during the investigative work. We were able to isolate them and quarantine them at home, and then once we were past that incubation period, the 5 to 7 days, we did the testing, and and it's been very helpful. It was actually one of our employees actually was subjected to testing at our central precinct, and we actually detected a positive. Wow. And so that helped because we didn't have to wait for test results from other areas.
I wanted to follow up on the press conference that was held by the Attorney General's office last week, Friday, just like an hour after the governor's press conference. And there was they cleared the officer, right, of any wrongdoing in terms of the use of force. But I wanted to follow up on, there were two people I thought involved in that attack in Tamuning, right? With the officer-involved shooting, remember? One of them.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The officer-involved shooting, two people
Right.
involved. What is the status of that second suspect? We never heard of any arrests or anything like that.
Bree, for that part of that question, I would have to defer to the Attorney General's office. That's the responsibility of the independent investigative team. They did the criminal investigation. As a matter of fact, I just received a copy of that report, which we're using with our in line with our internal affairs investigation, which is still ongoing. And so, I'm not at the point yet where I'll be discussing the outcome of our internal affairs investigation. But yes, I am aware that there was a second person. I believe it was the first individual that was seen wielding machetes.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the outcome of that was. I'm not sure if there was going to be any charges, if you will, against that person. And I'll leave that up again, like I said, to the AG's office to answer that question.
No, actually, that
'Cause it's in line.
question was posed during that press conference,
Right.
but they weren't answering anything in relation to the suspects. It was just strictly focused on the officer.
Yeah. So sorry, I can't speak to their investigation.
Okay.
Chief, is there any update on the Pereira? There was a Pereira kid that's been missing. Or not kid, he's young.
Which one, Chris? I'm not tracking him.
Bree, can you help me? There was flyers going around for this Pereira.
No, I don't know. I do have questions though on some flyers though.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know anything about a missing kid, which Chris is referring to?
Not kid. I mean, it's probably in his early 20s, maybe.
No, Chris. If you can send me that.
Yeah, let me look here.
Flyer?
Go ahead, Bree.
I'll look into it. I'm not tracking any missing persons.
Okay.
What about the search for the two people that are wanted for questioning in relation to the shooting that occurred over here in Deredo on Tranquilo Street? There were two people that GPD was searching for. Do you have any new information regarding that incident?
No, again, that's something that it's still being actively investigated. The Criminal Investigation Division and the Special Operations Division, they are still working on actively searching for the two wanted persons. And, I have said this before, there may be people that may be hindering the apprehension and harboring these wanted people. And it's just a reminder to the community, to those especially that are aiding or harboring these people from being apprehended. Those are crimes. And if we find out that you are harboring or aiding their escape or their apprehension in any way, shape, or form, you will be held accountable.
Anything new with the case that also occurred up in Jigo on, I think it's Chalon Vicenius, regarding a man who was stabbed multiple times and then set on fire? We understand that there was a Manuel Tautau that police were looking for, but he was actually arrested and charged in a different case just earlier this week. So is there anything new with Mr. Tautau or that investigation?
Yes, so Mr. Tautau was wanted in connection with that case, but he has not been charged yet because we are working with the Attorney General's office, and we are also working with, so there are additional follow-up investigations that needs to be done with that case. We need to do look for additional witnesses and recover other evidence, and just do a complete and thorough investigation, really is what I'm trying to say. And so that investigation is ongoing, and we have been working closely with the AG's office on that case as well.
What about the victim in that case? Have you heard anything in terms of his status? Because I heard the
Hospitalized.
No, but I can get Paul Tapal to just maybe WhatsApp you the victim status.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just had one more question, and it's regarding the post commission. Months ago, I want to say, or maybe even last month, they were searching for a new executive director. Do you know if they ever hired anybody?
No, and that's the last I know. Actually, we're supposed to have I believe, a meeting yesterday, scheduled meeting, but again, with all things COVID, I believe we had the chair had called off the meeting for now, and it'll be rescheduled to a later date. But yeah, I'm telling you, if you sat in on the presentation by Dr. Fee, the post commission does need an executive director. It needs a full-time person to give it the attention that it deserves, because there's just so many law enforcement agencies, and the post commission is meant to bring everybody together and provide that much needed support to all our law enforcement agencies. And it's been lacking an executive director for a couple of years at least since I've been here.
Yeah, I mean, we could go into that fee presentation and
Maybe another show.
Right.
Yeah.
Another two shows.
We can talk about that for days.
Right. Chief, so I sent you this article. It's Guam Police Department. This is from May. Guam Police Department confirms that a missing persons complaint was filed yesterday for 25-year-old Rico Pereira. And I know these flyers are still up all over the place. The flyer circulating in social media describes Pereira as having black hair, green eyes, standing 5'4". He was last seen along Alligator Road in Dedido. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapal has yet to issue an official missing persons release, but informs KUAM that the report has been generated and anyone with info can contact GPD Dedido Precinct 632-9808 or 9811. So that was what I was talking about, Chief. Has there been any development with this case?
Okay, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, this is from a couple months ago.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, we don't have any information with Mr. Pereira, and he's still considered a missing person. I'll get with the Criminal Investigation Division and see if they have an update.
okay.
But I remember tracking this case a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Anything new with the DNA lab? Is that still on track to open in a couple months?
Still on track to open in October, and we're still on track to procure all the much needed equipment. And I'd like to thank, of course, Dr. Mira Okada and her team for working alongside my team at the Forensic Science Division. And everything's still a go, and we're excited about that as well. A couple months from now.
Chief, while we're on the subject of DNA, is the Michael Castro murder investigation closed?
The Michael Castro murder investigation is still ongoing, and arrests have been made, and so everything now has been turned over to the AG's office, and but we continue to work with them.
Are we anticipating any more arrests in that case?
Not that I'm aware of at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Be safe.
Adios.
And congratulations to the 21 grads
Yay.
tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
9:07.
Go get 'em.
We got to take. Yeah, there's a lot of bad guys out there. We're gonna take just a really quick break, and then we're coming back with "Hey, ladies." Jason Solis is